Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the triple threat challenge, and I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on how to get 3 stars with the GoWiPe Attack strategy. Let's get on with it. Right, so the first attack I'm going to show you is a Town Hall 10 example of the GoWiPe Attack strategy. I'm using a wall wrecker which will have an Electro Dragon and a Hog Rider in it. But the main things that you want to focus on is this outlay over here. There's multiple combinations you can use, but I personally like to use 3 golems, 2 P.E.K.K.A.s and 16 wizards, followed by 18 wall breakers. I think they're the most important thing to get you in for the initial start, especially if you don't have a wall wrecker. I'll give you a quick walkthrough of it. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to drop a golem on either side to create your initial funnel. Now this is really important if you want to get your P.E.K.K.A.s into the centre of the base as quickly as possible. So I drop a P.E.K.K.A. either side, followed up with some wizards, and then you can see there I've dropped my wall wrecker, another golem, and in goes my P.E.K.K.A.s and my heroes. I followed up after that with the wall breakers. Now the idea behind this is to try and break even more centre into the wall. Just eases up the load on that wall wrecker. And then I finish up with some more wizards going in at the centre there. At this point I've taken in four rage spells with me, so I just want to be raging it all the way through so that I can get as centre into the base as I can and focus on taking out those Inferno towers. As you can see, my king's currently working on it along with that Electro Dragon. My queen's just following up behind the P.E.K.K.A. and the golem over on the bottom hand side down there, just adding the damage whilst the golems take as much of the damage as they possibly can. On the top we've got a couple of one wizard just going around whilst this golem up here is taking most of the damage. And as you can see, I'm just raging them all the way through, just trying to support my heroes, using them as much as I can to cause as much damage as possible. My golems once again at the top there, still taking the damage from that cannon, whilst my queen just cleans up any of the remaining buildings. And that's it, all the defences have gone at this point. It's just a matter of the waiting game, letting the wizards and the archer queen just go through, taking out those last few buildings. And there's a 3-star right there. So the main thing to take from that is you want to create a nice funnel to get your heavy units into the centre of the base as quickly as possible. You want to rage them on the way through. Now you can use an earthquake, that's a nice combination as well, to use 4 earthquake spells, breaking some middle walls. Like for example, I'd drop it around this area here if it was my base, if I was attacking this base. Followed up with some golems, and then the moment that you go in, you're straight into the centre of the base. You're in there with the town hall and the Inferno towers, which is the main important bit. You want to get in there as quickly as you can so you take as least damage as possible. I'm now going to show you an attack on a Town Hall 11 base. Although it is abandoned, the principles are still the same. So the initial start is exactly the same. You want to create that funnel, so drop the 2 golems either side of the base, followed up with some wizards in order to create the funnel. I then drop all of my heavy attack units in the middle, as you can see. And the idea is they need to get as central as possible, which is why in this attack I've brought in 4 earthquake spells with me, just to break up and open up the centre of the base. That way my queen, king, P.E.K.K.A.s and the golems have a clean walk straight into the centre. I then drop a healing spell in the centre to keep everything alive, whilst everything else is just being picked off for damage. Ideally, the golems want to be in front of the rest of the troops. They want to be taking most of the damage. You want your P.E.K.K.A.s following up with most of the damage, and your queen as well. Your queen will just pick off other buildings whilst your P.E.K.K.A.s deal with the ones that are closer up. So yeah, as you can see, the queen strayed off here to the side, which is why I had to use her ability in order to get this archer tower off her back. But the main attack is happening over here. The rest of the stuff is just walking. You've got a golem over there just taking on that wizard tower, and down the bottom here you've got the 3 P.E.K.K.A.s just working their way around whilst the queen takes some damage. Now what you'll see is that the P.E.K.K.A.s work their way around. I'll just speed this up at this point, and they just make their way round to slowly pick off each and every one of the defences. And the kind of bases you want to be looking for at this point are bases that are open structured, that are in big compartments of walls with multiple buildings covered by one section of walls. You don't want individual sections, they'll be a lot harder for you to take down. Because these are heavy dealing troops, they are very slow at attacking, so they struggle to get through walls, which is why a couple of wall breakers is useful, if not an earthquake spell to break them down. So the third example I'm going to show you is a Town Hall 9 version of the GoWiPe Attack, and the principles are still the same. So I will walk you through it now. As you can see, Pierce over here starts with 2 baby dragons to create the initial funnel for the rest of the attack. He opens it up and lays down 3 golems followed by some wizards. And then now he drops the wall breakers. This creates that initial hole for the rest of his attack to walk straight through. He drops the 3 peckers and his heroes all down together, and then drops a rage spell. That gets them straight through the initial part of the base and helps wipe down the first layer of defences. So then, as the rest of the team works its way down the bottom hand side, as you can see there's a couple of golems that split off and go to the other side. They'll start working some damage and attracting some of the defences from up there, whilst the Queen and the King make their way into the centre and just start taking out the defences, the Town Hall. That's exactly the same as any of the other attacks. And what you'll see, if I just speed it up now, there isn't too much more work that he has to do. All he has to do is just sit there and watch it out. You just watch them work their way around. The golems, try to keep them in front of the your heroes and your peckers, and they will take most of the damage. So yeah, from a Town Hall 9 perspective, it works exactly the same as Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11, except from obviously you're not working with the war wagon or any of those kind of things, but the principles are still the same.